Welcome to our live video series. You guys have been waiting for this for a long time. This is the Kia K5, and believe me, I've also been waiting for this for a long time. And what we're gonna do today is we're gonna review this car as a winter car, what makes it great for a winter car. And part of the reason we're gonna do that is because we're gonna be taking it outside in a snowy parking lot, not like crazy snow like the other day when we took the 8 inches of snow or something like that we had the other day, but still a good idea of low traction surfaces, and we'll explain the all-wheel drive system as well. So here's how this works. We do a live video every single weekday, and yes, we're filming this live, unedited. This is the way it works. If you want to skip ahead to the content and you're not live with us, you can skip to the 3-minute mark. In the meantime, we're gonna let our live audience join us, and we'll talk about some news and some notes, and we'll go from there. So first of all, if you want to join us live, let me show you how to do that. You jump over to our YouTube channel right here. If you refresh the page at exactly 2 o'clock, which is what we're doing right now, January 24th, 2 o'clock, you're gonna see that that main video that we used to have, sort of the placeholder video, is replaced by our live video. We're gonna click into that. As we click into that, you're gonna have to watch a quick little ad. While I'm skipping that ad, ooh, it's talking about winter tires. What a great topic. We're gonna skip that ad. As I'm skipping that ad, if you wanna buy a car in Ontario, connect with me. There'll be a link in the description underneath this video as soon as I'm done, and you can connect with me. I'll connect you with our team at Brantford Kia, Brantford Hyundai, or Owen Sound Hyundai. So that's the 3 dealers that support this channel, and they make it easy, and yes, they can help you anywhere in Ontario. So we already got a few questions coming in about this. I'll get to them as we go through this video, I promise. And difference between the GT line and the GT, basically GT has more horsepower and front wheel drive only. GT line, the biggest difference is the engine and all-wheel drive. All right, so what we're gonna do, talk some news and notes for about a minute here, and then we'll jump into the car and get going. So, news and notes, what's going on? There are some delays on some products, and your sales team should be reaching out to you on your car. If you're not with our dealer group, maybe want to just double check on your car and see where it's at, because there were some unexpected delays, and trust me, those phone calls suck for us to make, but we can't do anything about it, so that's what's going on with some of the delays, so just double check your car. Other ones, I think we're still on schedule for most of the stuff. I know a lot of you have been asking about, for the Kia World, the next Sportage. I don't have anything more on that. Same thing with the EB6. We know they're coming, and as soon as I have more information, just hit the subscribe button here, because as soon as we have more information, we'll let you know. 30 seconds left before we start the video. If you are a regular with us, do me a favor, hit the like button right now. If we can get a whole bunch of likes right now, we'll get a bunch of people joining us, and we'll show this car to more people up front instead of just over time. So that'd be fun. What else we got going on? 15 seconds ago, I think that's about it. It's Monday. We're getting more cars in now, finally, which is a good thing because we were short on cars for a while, so there we go. Any rumors about changes to Blue Link? I don't think I've heard any, so I'll have to pay attention to that. All right, here we go. 3-minute mark. Hey everybody, it's Peter from the Kia Hyundai channel. All right, so here's my plan for the day. Usually what we do when we do these half-an-hour live videos is we go in depth with this car. What I'm gonna do on this one is go a little less in depth, show you some winter features. Then we're gonna drive it out here, drive across our snowy lot, talk about the all-wheel drive system, give you examples of how it works. We'll pull it back in here, we'll take some questions, and if we don't get to the entire car, we'll try to pull it back in here a little bit later as well. So that's the plan. Let's get digging into it right now. Let me flip the camera around and show you the key first of all. All right, so again, we're examining this car from a winter perspective to start, but of course some of this may be valid no matter where you live. Very first thing, whether you're in winter or a hot sunny climate, it has remote start right here on the key fob. So this is the EX model, and just so you know where we're looking at in the lineup, this is one step up from the base level K5, and it is a screaming good bargain for what you get. Now, it's not the cheapest car we have, but $32,995 is where we're sitting at. And all these three here, the LX, EX, and GT line, they are all all-wheel drive. If you go to the GT, you get more power, but you also lose the all-wheel drive and you only get front-wheel drive. So we are looking at the EX model right here today, $32,995. And again, you have that remote start right there on the key fob, which is super nice to have. Somebody asked, are there winter tires on it? Great question. There are no winter tires on this car. This car literally came off the truck just minutes ago. We finally got it just cleaned up in a huge hurry. Has not even been through our shop yet. The tires are probably overpressurized because that's what they do from the factory. That's gonna negatively affect what we're doing today. So no winter tires. Tires are probably overpressured because it has not been through our shop yet, but we'll take care of that in a second. But we wanted to get this up here. So can I explain the difference between all-wheel drive and front-wheel drive? Yeah, we'll do that as we head out for sure. So as a winter car, this has a few advantages. Obviously, it's got all-wheel drive, and we're gonna show you later, one thing to keep in mind is when this car starts from a stop, all wheels are going to receive power, regardless of the traction surface. A lot of our competitors they wait for the front wheels to slip, and then they send power to the rear wheels. What that means is you're gonna lose traction, and then you give the rear wheels traction, which is just gonna push you further off course. You don't wanna lose traction and then try to find traction. What the K5 does that's different is instead of losing traction, it powers all wheels together off the start. And we'll show you this when we get outside and drive in just a second here. But when all wheels are powered from a start, it's going to give you the launch off the line rather than spin. As soon as these spin, you've created ice underneath the tires, and then you're relying on your rear wheels to push you through. But if you're going around a corner and the front wheels spin, and then the rear wheels start pushing, well, then it's just gonna push you off the road. So having a system like this, where all the wheels start to spin, and then as it has traction, it'll move the power forward. It is never fully front wheel drive. It is always at least 95 front and 5% on the rear wheels, but you can, of course, split that as, or it will split that as necessary. This car has a snow mode, which we'll talk about in the drive modes. It does not have, like the Canadian cars, terrain modes, which would include mud and sand modes. That's only in our SUVs, and that can be useful if you're really stuck or in really deep snow. Last week we did a video like this on the Sorento PHEV. We had like 8 inches of snow. We were able to get stuck, use the different drive modes to get unstuck. So really quickly, as a winter car as well, one thing I really like, I don't think I can show it to you from the outside here. Let's see if we can get it a little bit here. No, there is a grid in the windshield, and I cannot get it to focus on that grid. The entire windshield has a tiny little tungsten element running up and down and up and down and up and down. That tungsten element can defrost and take the snow and ice off of the entire, or virtually the entire windshield. There's a little line here where it's not on the very edge. But the idea is you don't have to scrape this windshield anymore. And unfortunately, it's not snowing. If it was snowing, I would sit out there and let it build up with snow and then show you that tungsten element defrosting the entire windshield. It is a huge feature, and it really matters for keeping your windshield clear, just making it easier and nicer to drive in the winter. All right, let's jump in. We'll talk about a couple other little features here, and then we'll get going. Now, have I got my key? I've got my remote. Okay, I just want to make sure I've got the garage door opener. I happen to be using a garage door opener. Higher trim cars, you would have a garage door opener on the mirror right here. All right, let me just go back a little bit. Okay, so we're going to turn the car on 1 second. One thing, of course, we have here, rump roasters, heated seats. So I'm just going to turn the car to the on position. I am going to turn the rump roasters on because, oh boy, is it cool, and it's nice to have rump roasters. We're also going to turn the heated steering wheel on, 2 other things that make it really good in the winter. Now, one thing I love is the panoramic roof, and you can see it is a large panoramic roof. Some people think that the glass is cooler in the winter, and if you have a nice open air experience hairdo like I do, then you may want in the summer for that to be open, which is perfect because it's right above my head and it works very well. However, if in the winter you decide that that glass is too cold, you do have a cover here that creates an extra layer. It can close up like this, and that of course gives you a little bit extra insulation, which is kind of nice. I like it open, so we're going to keep it open for our test drive as well. The other thing is, of course, you have rear defroster as well as the front defroster. Let me just flip around here. Ooh. If you want heated mirrors, they are heated. You just have to use the rear defrost button. So a lot of people ask about the rear defrost, or how do you get the mirrors to activate in the rear defrost? You do that. The front defrost is right there, which is that tungsten element. This blows air at the front window like you would in a normal car, and this is the rear defrost. So what we're gonna do is open up the garage door here. We're gonna pull outside. I'm also gonna quickly talk about the climate control, because this car has been sitting inside. It's a little warmer, but it's not fully warm. Starting the car up, I am turning on the, or plugging in my seatbelt here, and we're gonna pull it outside. All right, so let's pull it outside here. And gotta make sure I shut the garage door or they'll be upset with me inside. Okay, shutting the garage door right now, and it is shutting. Okay, so what we're gonna look at here is, first of all, let's get the climate control going because I like to be warm. So there we go. The way you have it set here is those 3 dots there allow it to go, the fan speed to go to max speed. You're seeing a lot of glare here. I don't see that glare in person nearly the way you do on the camera here. So just hard to show you exactly. But when you have this, what I want you to do in a car with automatic climate control is use the auto setting. What I don't want you to do is set it to high and override the fan speed, because all that's gonna do, is turn on a lot of noise and take all the hot air that's building in the engine and blow it out to you. So when you have auto climate control in the winter, what you're gonna do is you're gonna set it to a temperature that you think is comfortable, and you're gonna allow it to build heat, and the fan speed will pick up as necessary as the engine warms up. So that's what you should do in the winter, and we'll go from there. All right, so what we're gonna do is just pull over here. I'm gonna back up a little bit. The camera has a sort of G-force adapter, so as I go around corners, it is going to compensate for my corners, and it is not the best way to film, and we've already kind of figured that out, but it is what it is. I'm looking at my backup camera as well as the mirrors here, and I'm in a very closed course, so there's much less to be able to hit. All right, so what I want to do is show you the all-wheel drive system. We're going to put it in drive. You can go through here in many different ways in this display screen. And one thing I'm going to do is go over to the all-wheel drive system. Now, this is the all-wheel drive system. I can go through speedometer. I can go through all kinds of things. But this is the all-wheel drive system. So when this system, yep, ice is possible. So that's below 4 degrees. It was 9 degrees in this car when we were inside. You'll see that drop a little bit lower. You can turn that warning off if you want. This is our all-wheel drive system. So what you're going to see is each one of these bar graphs is going to fill in with power as we start to drive. So I'm just going to keep the climate control a little quieter. So as we start to drive, you're going to see that fill in with power. So those will be bar graphs that fill in. And you can, where am I now? Switch to the drive modes here. I've just got the wrong hand on the drive mode. So we're going to go in smart, normal, or sport. So we're going to keep it in the smart mode. The smart mode is what most people should drive in for economy. Normal will give you a little bit more touchy throttle. Sport mode obviously makes it more aggressive. So when we're talking smart mode, the smart mode essentially makes it economical, but if you get into the throttle, it'll automatically switch it to normal mode. It'll automatically switch it to sport mode. This is the mode that you're going to drive in most of the time. It's probably not what you're going to use to drive in snow, but I want to show you again the all-wheel drive system before we switch to the snow mode. So smart mode is the dullest throttle out of the 3 drive modes, which are the normal modes like smart, normal, and sport. Then you can do a custom and a snow. We'll talk about those custom and snow in a second, but let's keep it in smart mode for a second here. It's going to prioritize front wheel drive in the smart mode. The normal mode will prioritize a little bit more all-wheel drive, but watch as we release the brake here and start accelerating. Start accelerating, all 4 wheels have traction, and they maintain traction as we keep going here. I just let off the throttle. I'm going to brake, not too slippery, so we're pretty good here. So that shows you, and we'll just turn around again, that shows you that the all-wheel drive system, oops, my camera's moving on me already. The all-wheel drive system does allow you to have all wheels with traction and not wait for the front wheels to slip. That's a huge advantage, and I hope you understand why. Now, just one thing I never showed in the other video that we did just the other day, when I throw it in reverse here, it's going to be the exact same thing. So in reverse, of course, I've got the backup camera with the guidelines that turn, keep the blue line where your parking space is going, and the other lines show you where the car is going to go roughly. You'll also see that the wheels can turn over here, which if you look at the top wheels there, turn the wheel by, they turn, and we'll go this way. So that's kind of a guideline, which is kind of nice. But the other thing I want to show you is when I hit reverse here, all 4 wheels again are going to have traction in reverse. So reverse, all 4 wheels, and we're going to brake right away because I don't want to have to go further. So even in reverse, all 4 wheels are going to get traction. Now we're going to move to the normal mode, because this will prioritize a little bit more all-wheel drive potentially. We're going to throw it in drive, and we're going to drive just around the corner here. As we go this way, keep traction, coming back around this way. So what is happening now is, I'll tell you exactly what it feels like from the driver's seat. As we do those S-turns, on those S-turns, the car will move a little bit more front-wheel drive than rear, just a little bit. And what that does is, as the car's coming around the corner, it's not going to fishtail much, but it will plow the front a little bit and then hook up and go. So if it's going to slide, it's probably going to slide the front wheels just a tiny bit and then adapt everything as it goes. It's not going to swing the rear end out. That's the whole way this all-wheel drive system is designed, so it doesn't swing that rear end out. So we're just going to come back around again, and I did a normal acceleration and I did a smart acceleration. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put it into the smart mode, or sorry, the snow mode. The biggest thing you're going to notice here, and this is a big difference, is it really dulls the throttle down. So we'll take it back over here, we'll flip it around. Let's just zoom in for a second so you can see. There we go. So we go to the next drive mode. Sport mode we won't play with today. Custom mode we'll talk about a little bit later. The snow mode is where we're in right now. So the snow mode, what it does is it's going to very much dull the throttle. It also changes the way the stability control system works. All of these drive modes can change the way stability control, traction control, all-wheel drive systems, like all sorts of things are all customized, but also the throttle pedal, so the gas pedal in this car. When we hit the gas in snow mode, it's going to very gradually apply power. And the reason is, like we mentioned at the beginning of the video, when you gradually apply the power, you're not going to risk spinning. When you risk spinning, you create some ice. So if I do a 1/3 throttle application, kind of like I did before, maybe I didn't go quite at 1/3, you're going to see again here, all the wheels are going to grab up. But oh boy, actually it's not as lazy as I thought. So it's a little better here than it is in my Santa Cruz, for instance. But the idea is it does not, ABS kicking in, we're sliding on ice, there we go. I should point that out. That crunching noise, I'm sure most of you know this, but that crunching noise you feel in your brake pedal, generally speaking, you want to keep your foot in the brake on a car with ABS. You'll feel the pulsing and the crunching kind of sound. That's just your ABS kicking in gear. So we'll go across to another parking lot now in snow mode, but the snow mode is a little bit more aggressive in this car than in the in something like my Santa Cruz as far as off the throttle, which is kind of nice. It's just the way it works. Let's just jump over here. So what we're gonna do is go across to one more unpaved parking lot before we jump back into the video bay, take some questions and give it another demonstration. So we're gonna do some S-turns in that unplowed parking lot up ahead. I've got someone walking out who works with us, so I'm just gonna go real slow through here. We're gonna show you our all-wheel drive system. It's not even working right now. I mean, it's just coasting right now, but as we accelerate, you'll see a little bit of power come on there. All right, just gonna take people off video. Okay, so this parking lot up ahead, again, just a little bit of snow cover, but it is pretty slick. So there's definitely the ability to slide, and we will. Now, real quick update. Just want to tell you what's going on right now. Come on, camera, there we go. My rear end, getting too warm. Temperature in the car, perfectly fine. You can see that we've already got the temperature gauge up to there. The heat's blowing pretty good. And I've set it down to the lower setting so it doesn't get too noisy. If I go a little quicker, it starts pumping through more air, it's louder. And but right now we're going to keep it nice and low. All right, so rump roaster too hot, going to turn that down, and steering wheel heater too warm, we're going to turn that off. That's how quick it took to get too warm, and to be honest, I'm probably late in reporting that. So what we're going to do really quickly is just do a couple little S-turns in the snow mode here, and I'm going to describe what's going on because the camera doesn't always see what's going on as far as the way I feel. So we're going to go sharp left here, easily move sharp left, turn it around really hard right, a plow and then a push. And I'll tell you what that means in a second. A plow and then a push again. And again, no winter tires on this car, but I think this will show you what's going on. So let me just stop here for a second. You'll see my tight tire tracks there. Hopefully you can see them. If the camera will adapt, not the best, but fairly tight turns there. So when I say a plow and a push, this is the all-wheel drive system adapting. A plow is when I slide a little bit forward, and then it kind of hooks up and then it pushes. So what it does is it rotates the car to what I'm telling it to do. So in other words, it sounds like it's bad when you rotate, but if you think through what you want when you're driving in the snow, a plow is a predictable thing. It's going to slide a little bit forward. Usually that's what you want for predictability. You don't want the back end swinging out. So once it goes plows and then the front wheel hooks up a little bit through it just figuring it out electronically, the front end starts turning and then it pushes the back end a little bit more to get you back in line. It sounds crazy. It sounds like it's not safe, but what it is just has a tiny bit of a gentle slip in the front, tiny bit of a gentle slip in the rear, and what that does is puts you on the line that you steered with originally. So if you want to drive with confidence, this car's all-wheel drive system is fantastic for that. It is not made to get sort of unstuck in super deep situations, although of course with all-wheel drive that will help you. What it's really made to do is keep traction as you're driving in snowy situations, and you can play with these drive modes, throw it in snow mode at any speed. So that plow and push, what it does is basically if the car slides at all, which it will with these non-snow tires on this very slippery parking lot, it will basically take the car exactly where you want to go, even though it's sliding. It'll use the slide to your advantage and keep you in line. So if you look at the lines in front of me, and it's going to be very hard to show you with this camera, those S-turns are very, very straight S-turns. There's not a whole lot of swinging out anywhere at all. So when I describe plow and push, it's not like it's sliding very much at all. You're still easily kept in your lane. It's very predictable. So we're going to do some more S-turns. We're going to go back to the video bay. I'll take your questions. All right, still in the snow mode. Actually, you know what? We'll do sport mode for a second. So sport mode, again, is the opposite, makes the throttle a little touchier. We'll do the same S-turns in sport mode. It is going to allow the engine to rev, keep it in higher gears, and it will probably allow a little bit more spin. So we'll see what happens here as we look out, and I'll describe it to you again. Ignore the camera. All right, sharp left turn. Oh, yeah, right away. Right away, rear-wheel drive. Now it cut. The traction control still cut it. A little bit more rear-end spin. Yep, definitely more rear-end spin. So in the sport mode, still pretty good. It cut power a lot early on when it noticed I was really sliding, and then it gave me a little bit more rear end swing than before. So the snow mode kept me basically where I was steering. The sport mode allowed that rear end to swing a little bit more because it's going to about 50-50 power. So big side drifts a little bit, but the traction control was still on, the stability control was still on, and that allows you to still keep it in control. If you want to have fun in a big parking lot, which I don't encourage, I mean, I do, but just not officially with the badge on, you'll want to take the stability control and traction control off. The way you do that is holding down those buttons until it says traction control off and stability control off, and then you can get into sideways drifts. I don't want to do that in this car because I don't want to break it. It's been a long time since I've seen a K5. I am going to go back to the snow mode as I go across the parking lot. But yeah, so the sport mode will allow some big open drifts. You'll need a big wide open parking lot. I take no responsibility for your poor driving if you crash. But yeah, snow mode, basically what it does is it's doing everything it can to steer the car the way you want to go, which is, I'm just looking for traffic here. So if there's any slide at all, it does everything it can to correct it. It pulls the rear end and uses that power just to correct it again, and it slides where you want to go. So snow mode is what I obviously recommend in the snow, but it doesn't matter if you're in an eco mode or a normal mode when you hit a snowy road. It's still going to have all-wheel drive. It's still going to work very well in the snowy conditions. So what I'm doing right now is I'm way low on likes, guys. I'm 110 people on. I only got like 59 likes. So I feel like we could hit 100 likes if everyone helps me out. I'm not perfect at filming these. I know there's issues with this, but I am working alone, and this is the rules of me working alone right now. I have to work alone, and that's what it is. So I know you guys want to see outside video, but I don't have any today, and that's just the way sometimes things work. Do me a favor, hit the like button. We'll see what we can do. And I'm going to go inside, answer your questions. The one other thing I'm going to show you is the windshield wipers. They are buried on this car, so a lot of people think that's a real problem, but I'll show you what you're going to do when you go inside here. Because if you're someone like me who doesn't like to have ice underneath the windshield wipers and likes leaving your wipers up, you can do that easily here, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm just going to go carefully back into the bay here. Bear with me for a second as I use my mirrors, not my backup camera, because that's what matters when you're backing up into a garage. And again, slippery floor, slippery slope with the with snow on there. This car just easily drives right in. You never slip at all because it's got the all-wheel drive system. All right, gonna turn the car, actually we're gonna shut the door here. All right, really quickly, when you turn the car off, when we turn the car off, we're gonna go there, from here to the wipers. Turn the car off, and we're gonna hold this up. As we hold that up, the wipers come up like that. Now, why did we just do that? Turn the car off and hold the wipers up, and I'll show you why in just 1 second. Car's in park, doors being shut. All right, so what we did is, the wipers on the K5 and several Kia Hyundai products, when they're down, they can't rise up. They'll hit this. So you have to raise them up like this, and then you can pull them off the windshield like this if that's what you wanted to do, which sometimes I like to do. It's just a design thing that I'm not a huge fan of, that they bury them down there for aerodynamic reasons. It makes total sense, except for when it's icy and you want to peel them. Now, if there was ice underneath and they were down there, you could still raise them enough to get a scraper underneath there and be careful with them. But if you want to leave them up off your windshield, when you stop, you're just going to turn the car off, hold the wiper thing up, and it's going to lift them up. So you guys can complain about that to me, but I didn't design it, so no point complaining to me. You can just thank me for showing you how to do it. All right, let me just jump back here to my computer, which is timed out. So let me just log back in and make sure I've got your questions here. All right, it's cold in here now. I just opened that door. All right, so we're gonna take your questions now. All right, so I have not seen any of these, so bear with me. Usually I try to keep an eye on what's coming through and I get a sense of what's coming back. So there we go. Drove one of these in white with red leather interior a couple weeks ago. Nice car. Yeah, the K5, I'd love to do a proper review of this, and maybe I will this week as well. Excellent car. Excellent car. I really like the all-wheel drive. A very good way to get all-wheel drive and a lot of the features you want for less money than you would get in an equivalent SUV. All right. Okay. It's not about, oh yeah, you guys are saying, do I need a waterproof camera? It's not about the waterproof camera. It's about, this is the only one that can go live, and we do these live videos right now. Okay. New Peter had a fun side, not with the badge, yeah. Will a K5 get a hybrid option like the Sonata, maybe for 2023 model year? I don't know. The problem with the K5 is when they first introduced it, they didn't really plan, this is just a problem, and they didn't plan for it to be as popular as it could have been. So the reason the K5 didn't sell well is because we sold out of our yearly allotment at this dealership, for an example, in about 2-3 weeks. So it's just been a car that they need to bring out in higher volume, because I think if they were producing it in higher volume, I think we could sell a lot more. We haven't had any on the lot in months. So I think that would work. Front defroster runs off the engine, rear is electric. So no, front defroster runs off the engine when it's blowing the air, but the tungsten element is electric as well. So you just touch that and electrically defrost the entire windshield. It works really, really well. Wonder if it's, somebody sent a question on Santa Fe Preferred. Just send me an email, Anthony DeSalvo. My email will be at the end of every live video. There's a link to click. Just send me an email if I missed your comment. I get a lot of comments every day, guys, so it is possible I missed them, and it's very difficult for me to go find one if I've missed it. So just feel free to send me an email if you have a question. Why doesn't my Stinger have that all-wheel drive page in the center screen? Your Stinger does have an all-wheel drive setting there. The Stinger system is very different than this, though. This one prioritizes front-wheel drive. The Stinger system prioritizes rear-wheel drive, especially in sport mode. It can go 80-20, where this one can only go 50-50. So 80-20 to the rear, 80 power to the rear. Does the K5 GT line have the heated steering wheel feature? Yes, it does. So in Canada, this is the EX. It's the model below the GT line. So in Canada, when you move up to the GT line also has a heated steering wheel, and everything above it does. Everything above this EX does. This is the EX, sorry. Somebody asked what it was. They just joined. Is that rear defrost to activate the heated mirrors on all Kia vehicles? Yes. When you hit your rear defrost, well, I say yes. I can't think of a Kia vehicle that doesn't have that, put it that way. So most, if not all, Kia vehicles right now, when you hit the rear defrost, it will activate your defrosting mirrors. The only reason I say I'm not sure is I'm not sure if the very base level Forte has that or the very base level Rio has that, but I think they do. But yeah, your car, I know you're a regular with us, your car and many of us, the regular cars will have that. Can you explain the difference between front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive? Yeah, so basically a front-wheel drive car, the engine only powers the front wheels. An all-wheel drive, it powers all wheels. And that's a huge benefit to having this car, especially in the poor weather, of having that all-wheel drive. And that's kind of why we did this demonstration. Before we finish up here, I want to touch on a couple other little things. I want to show you rear seat space because a lot of people compare this with an SUV. We'll look at trunk space as well for a second. Have I got the key on me? I think I do. Yep, okay. So rear seat space, trunk space, and lighting. I just want to touch on those. I'll go back to your questions. We were aiming for, I think, about 100 likes, guys. We're at 84. So do me a favor, if you want to hit the like button, let's see if we can get to 100 likes before we finish, and we'll jump in. So this EX model does not have heated rear seats. Move up one trim level, and you could have heated rear seats here. But overall, sometimes this seat slides backwards when I turn it off. I don't think it is. It did this time, I'm not sure. But again, that's a powered seat. So jumping in here, one thing that's really nice is it's not too far down because it's a mid-sized car. Headroom is okay. I'm about 6 feet tall, so it's plenty of room for me. If you're taller than me, I think you'd be comfortable as well. And a couple things I really like. My legs are flush on the seat. I've got lots of foot room. I'm wearing winter boots today just in case I had to go outside, and that makes my foot room less, but I can easily tuck my boots underneath there. One thing you do have when you have an all-wheel drive car like this, and this will be different than in the Sonata, which is a very similar platform, you have a large hump here because there's an actual drive shaft running down the center to power those rear wheels. So middle row passengers are going to have to spread their legs, or middle seat passengers are going to have to spread their legs here because you do have a drive shaft there. There is two USB ports down there, or there are two USB ports down there. Pockets on both sides, which is what they should do. And so you have the pocket there, plastic back seats, which are easy to wipe down. And the big thing is, obviously, you can see lots of leg room and lots of knee room here. Very comfortable, very SUV alternative if you don't need a third row seat. So very comfortable. And again, the other thing to keep in mind here is you got a 1.6 liter, whoops, come on camera. You have a 1.6 liter turbo engine. This car is lighter and more aerodynamic than most SUVs. It's much better fuel efficiency, 180 horsepower, 195 foot-pounds of torque, but the 1.6 turbo gives you a lot of power low in the rev range, which means most cars, when they show you a higher power number, you have to rev it up like crazy to get that power. This car feels powerful because you get all of that torque around, I think around 1,700 RPM, less than 2,000 RPM, and you hold it up around 4,000 RPM. So your torque, which is your pulling power, your accelerating power, you get all of that power low in the RPM, and that really matters. All right, taking a look back here, we're gonna show you lighting in a second. You don't need to have your key out. Oh, there's a little plastic tab there, that's shipping plastic. But you don't need to have your key out or anything. You just touch this button here and the trunk opens. You can use your key as well. One big thing with sedans is people forget they have very large trunks when it comes to the floor here. So floor space in this car, we talk about something like a Sorento being a 2 teddy bear trunk. This is just as easily a 2 teddy bear trunk, maybe just a hair less length than a full 2 teddy bears, but you could easily, because teddy bear is squishy and he likes to cuddle, you could easily fit a second teddy bear in there. So a lot of floor length down there. and we'll just pop underneath here. You do have a spare tire, and there is some room around there for gym shoes or other stuff like that, but you do have a proper spare tire underneath this, which is an all-wheel drive car, which is nice to have. All right, throwing that teddy bear back. Just want to take a look at lighting. Again, as a lower level trim, you don't always expect fantastic lighting, but this is, you know, there is no such thing as a real lower level trim in the K5 lineup. So, see if I can turn the car on, or is my, there we go. Turn the headlights on. All right, so we'll turn the left side signal on as well. When we have the signal on, you do have the nice bright LED lights in the mirrors here, and you can see that amber light there. So one thing I want to point out over here, in Europe, the amber light here is white. In North America, it is an amber, and it looks really cool, makes it really distinct. Come down the road, you can definitely tell what it is. Bright LED lights. That's another really good thing to have in the winter, is really bright lights, and they are excellent. So you got to give them credit there. No fog lights on this model. I don't really think that you need them with these really good headlights. I'm okay with it personally. You can see bright white. They don't look white on camera, but they're bright white, sharp cutoff. I have the car on a different angle than I normally do because we're taking it outside. And of course, when you have your signal light on, doesn't really show well on camera, but this is a bright amber. The camera has trouble picking up that amber light. So let's take a look at the back here. Still have amber signals out back, which is pretty rare on a lot of cars nowadays. You still got this kind of heartbeat pattern across there, and the dashed look, and those are lit up. So a lot of cars, they don't have that lit up. We've talked about that in the past. Lit up dashes across the trunk there, and you have the amber signal lights there. So we'll go back, we'll take a couple questions if you've got them. I'll do my best to answer them, but I think we need to have this vehicle back in here, but I just kind of want to give you that quick, half an hour quick overview of why this is a great winter car. So in short, why is it a great winter car? Tungsten element in the windshield. Amazing. I wish I could have shown it to you today. Let me just show you right outside the window here. They're doing a little snow plowing now that I've done my little demonstration. See that Forte right there, the rear window? If your window looked like that, probably 30 seconds on that tungsten element, it would be gone. Over here, that's my car right there. If your window looked like that with a little bit more snow on it, it might take a second longer to get the tungsten element to melt it all, but it will do it. And if you don't need the tungsten element to clear it, but you just want to get that ice gone from the windshield, it does a good job of that as well. So really, really nice to have that tungsten element on the windshield to take all that snow and ice gone, and you don't have to scrape your windshield, which is pretty cool. All right, gonna go down to the bottom here. You guys are asking about fuel tank, I guess. Somebody's answered that, looks like. What type of gas does it take? Regular gas, even though it's a turbo engine, does not need premium fuel, which is nice to have. No LED rear signals. Yeah, that's just what they do. Stinger's got LED rear signals. The rest of our cars, for the most part, don't. I don't know why they do that. Yes, somebody says I can go live with the GoPro, but it's a different setup than what we do here with our interaction, and that's why I see your comments here on my screen, so although you can do some things, the setup is a little more complicated for us. So there we go. Okay. Another great Kia 101 class by Professor Peter. All right. We'll do some shorter clips on this car a little bit later as well. Forte mid-models won't have heated mirrors in USA, Canada maybe. Yeah, of course. Mid-models in the States are a little different than Canada. So Canadian cars tend to get a lot of the winter stuff that American cars don't, especially things like heated seats, heated rear seats, that kind of thing. Somebody's concerned about long-term reliability. I'm not concerned about it, to be very honest. It's just not a concern for me. This car at 1.6 has always done well for us. Any chance the K5 with 2.5 gets all-wheel drive engine in the future? So that's a good question. The all-wheel drive, or sorry, the 2.5 liter turbo engine of this car does not have all-wheel drive. And to be very frank, if you want an all-wheel drive and 2.5 turbo, the Sorento is an option, or this car is an option. That's the Santa Cruz there by Hyundai. At this point, Kia does not offer the 2.5 liter turbo with all-wheel drive. I don't know why that. I have some suspicions. I think the reality is this all-wheel drive system is probably shared with the Seltos as far as mechanicals, because it's a similar horsepower, 180 horsepower, same engine as the Seltos SX, same engine and powertrain. I have a feeling the all-wheel drive system that would be needed for the 2.5 liter turbo is from the Sorento, and there may be some re-engineering work, so that could be a reason why it's not there. There's certainly a marketing reason why it's not there with the Kia Stinger around. With the Stinger being around, do you really need an all-wheel drive vehicle? And again, the all-wheel drive vehicles on here are not designed for performance like the Stinger. They're designed for traction in the winter. So I don't know if we'll see a K5 GT with the powertrain. I would assume that throughout this generation, they would not do it. Once the Stinger's gone, is there potential? Maybe, but then by then they're moving a lot of things EV-wise, and you're going to have a lot of all-wheel drive EV options. So I don't honestly think that this generation of the K5 will offer the GT in all-wheel drive for a whole bunch of business reasons and just some practical ones as well. For instance, I think it's a different all-wheel drive system in those cars. All right, guys, we're at about 35 minutes. We hit about 100 likes, so I'm going to leave it there. If you want to see more of the K5, please let me know in the comments below. I haven't done a lot of K5. I'd like to do more, but if you guys can let me know that you want to see more of the K5, then I'll do what I can to get it back here. I believe this car is going to be going out soon. That's why I didn't drive crazy, and I think it may even be a sold car. So I'm not sure how much longer I'll have it around, but we'll talk about that in the future. So thanks, everybody, for watching. It's been fun, and we'll see you again in the next one.